Hello everyone, Parse7 here. Welcome back to more Bloons Sea Battles 2. Now I decided to finally start playing a bit again. I was kind of losing motivation to grind, or just like keep grinding XP. And well, I guess my grind finally paid off as well. I unlocked Ground Zero. I also unlocked 2 other tier 5s in this video, as you'll see before, which I know you might think, well, how much grind did you do off camera? Not a lot. One of these tier 5s I had unlocked for a bit of a while, but I just never really got around to using it. Even now, when this video comes out, I still wouldn't have used it. So we're going DFA, and I feel like I have improved the DFA strat a bit. So as you can see here, my opponent is rushing me with yellows. I had to boost to defend. I didn't really want to leak too many lives, so in response I ended up getting a crossbow. And I found that crossbow actually is pretty effective against, round 5 whites. On, lots of, I guess shorter, or not shorter, longer maps, like, mine and docks and whatever, crossbow and spike-a-pole is enough to handle round 5 whites. It is strange. I wouldn't have ever thought of using crossbow. Crossbow is kind of one of those upgrades that I thought, probably wouldn't have too much of a use in battles too, but that 3 layers of damage it does, is pretty effective and pretty good, if I must say, if your opponent is spamming strong balloons against you. So I guess, it was kind of nice to just get back in the game and improve the DFA strat just a bit more. Also, as you've noticed, I did mess up recording this first half of the video. I completely forgot to record audio for Battles 2, but I'll just layer over some BT6 music. So anyways, you can see my opponent's having to boost against, round 5 whites. He was like really focused on, like spamming whites at me that I completely forgot about his own defense. He gets a wall of fire in, I guess, just response to that. And so, yeah. What have I changed about DFA? Nothing really. It was just crossbow and just using it more. I found that crossbow is pretty good early game. I can't really say the same for sharpshooter. I haven't really found too much of a use for sharpshooter, but crossbow is fairly good. Sharpshooter is a bit expensive. It's 2k, and with DFA strats, I can't really think of a situation where I'd want to use sharpshooter. As sharpshooter, of course, it attacks faster and has those powerful crits, which makes it good against ceramics, but I mean that's what Juggernaut's for, and Juggernaut is a lot cheaper. It can pop every type of balloon, assuming you go the bottom cross path. Sharpshooter's Moab damage, I guess, is okay, but I mean, you could just spam a few trip dart monkeys and you'll be set for round 20, which is actually the strategy I use, if you haven't noticed in my previous video. Now again, I go for the 203 cross path, which again, is a bit curious, as, usually when you go bottom cross path, you always want to go for the attack speed option, as, Crossbow Master has 20 pierce, I believe, and the top cross path only gives 3 compared to the 33% attack speed increase that middle cross path gives. But I found out that you probably do want to go for top cross path, as again, you'd really want to pierce again those strong balloons. You really just want to pierce down those strong balloons so your spike-a-pole / Juggernaut can actually clean up, as well as your hero, if you're going something like Oben. And even then, it doesn't really take much to defend most balloons. As you can see, crossbow like really just pretty much handled that rush pretty well. Of course, Juggernaut did help out a bit, but I feel like it was mostly crossbow and bomb race that did most of the heavy lifting here. So I guess the only just main concern with sharpshooter or just bottom cross path in general is that you do need straight lines to make full use of it. As if you have noticed before, sharpshooter has whiffed a fair bit. It's almost Quincy 2.0, but not as bad. So it does tend to whiff. I'm assuming it's because top cross path, and you never really see that top cross path. But yeah, you really need straight lines in order to make full use of sharpshooter's pierce that you gain with top cross path. I'm assuming on maps where you don't really have much of straight lines, you really do want to go middle path. So if you saw there with my farms, yes, I did unlock BRF. BRF is my first tier 4 farm that I've actually unlocked. The second tier 4 farm I'm gonna go for is Marketplace. Why not IMF loan? Well, simple, because I can't really think of a strategy with the IMF loan. IMF loan is kind of a high risk, high reward strategy to where, if you use it and your rush succeeds, you're greatly rewarded with winning. But if your rush fails, you're 20k in debt, and keep in mind, you just spent all that money on a farm that you're gonna have to pay off. And so if that rush fails, you really handicap yourself for late game. And I'm not really all about those risky strats, so I'm just gonna say no for now. Especially now with Dartling and Ninja meta, I was just like no. I figured it probably wasn't worth it. I might try it out, sometime in the future, maybe when Dartling and Sniper and Ninja isn't as strong. But as of right now, I wouldn't even attempt it. So I'm not really sure what the most efficient farming strategy for Battles 2 is. Of course, with BTD6, Druid farming was pretty good until I think it got nerfed actually. Druid farming was pretty good, of course with Lich and everything, marketplace spam was incredibly good because you mainly just need the extra lives. So wasn't really sure what to do here, so I just decided, do what they did in Battles 2, or not Battles 2, Battles 1. Basically what they did is they sold pretty much all their farms for a factory. I figured, that might work in Battles 2, so why not try it out? So, well, that's what I just ended up doing. So here I get a sharpshooter just to help out a bit with the natural Moab. My opponent isn't really rushing me too hard. He's just kind of playing idly. He's sending eco blacks occasionally, but he's not really trying to punish me too hard, which is a bit curious decision on his part, as since I'm a farm user, I have access to a lot more money to rush him, where he as an eco user, he can't really rush me as hard, and especially since since I have farms, I can just sell them for defense. So yeah, it is very curious why he's not punishing me just at all, but hey, it is what it is. And it was cool to see the Bloon jutsus and not sticky bombs. I guess he doesn't really know just how insane sticky bombs are at this point. So anyways, you'll see BRF pretty soon. As I am getting ready to sell it. I'm just doing a bit of quick mental math, which again is really slow on my part, but I wasn't really trying too hard. But there it is, BRF. What are its stats? Well, so far with the 420 crosspath, it makes 750 per crate and produces, I think it's 5 crates per round, I think it says in its description. So that is a quite sizable chunk of money. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but again, getting that on round 24 is kind of bad in my opinion. So I send this guy a ZOMG because it's round 24, and he face palms at me, I guess, for whatever reason. I guess he realized that he might not be able to defend that, or maybe he was a bit overzealous in his defense and he thought it was going to be an easy defend. So yeah, getting this on round 24 is kind of slow and not really, I guess, too overly efficient, especially since with DFA you really do need ground 0 by 26 in order to defend DDTs, or else you can get a plasma fan club, but that's also expensive. So here I decided to try out ground 0 and see how good it is, and so I used the ability and was a bit surprised. It didn't actually beat it didn't actually kill the fortified BFP. So again, that's a bit disappointing on my part. I'm not even sure why I thought it would, seeing as it didn't actually beat that in battles, not battles in BTD6. So I guess it's just kind of a goof on my part, but I guess it was just cool to find that out just to see what it does. It is good that I used it here and not just in any other situation, or else I definitely would where I needed to know that. So I guess I do know that ground 0 cannot take down one fortified BFB. But it can do a pretty decent amount of damage. So as you can see, I'm dying to natural ceramic, so I just ground 0 that. I sold most of my defense for whatever reason. I'm not even sure why. But he gets Phoenix, but it's too late at this point. He's already dead. So this match here, I was actually gonna be a bit, I guess, more serious and a bit tryhardy. This is still not too far after I unlocked BRF. So again, I'm not really too familiar what the most efficient farming strategy would be, but he's going Darling, and usually I kind of just be another Darling user, but I was kind of curious to see just what I can do against Darling, as I do think that DFA is a pretty decent strategy. If you sell all your farms, you can pretty do some very deadly rushes. So I assume that since he was going Dartling and he places Dartling in a good spot, and this is lead dungeon gameplay, I figure that he's probably a decently good Dartling player. So again, I was a bit excited to see what I could do against, like Darlene Ninja Sniper. I assume that's what his strategy was, because, well, I assume that I was at the point where, Darlene Ninja Sniper would be most of what I see. But he places down Gwendolyn, which is very curious. I'm assuming it's because he doesn't have Ocean Open. And, if you don't have Ocean Open, I guess, Gwendolyn's probably your next best choice. As again, well, I mean, Darlene doesn't really need lead popping since, you want to go Hydro Rocket Pods, but I guess just even then, Gwendolyn is just a good all-around hero for leads if you do struggle against that. Also, another good thing about Darling players is I figured that he wasn't going to try to be too aggressive, since of course, this means that, since he's going Darling, and, Darling can solo the first 18 rounds, I figured, I was just going to use the opportunity just to farm as hard as possible. Now, it is a shame that, this is still 1.05, and, farms really aren't that efficient. You saw last game, I ended up getting a BRF by round 24, which in my opinion is a bit too slow. Because then it's like, well, when would you ever use any of the tier 5 farms? Mainly just because of space issue. Like, you can only place down, like I could place down more farms on the map, but then I'd be sacrificing, defense at that point, and I'd probably lose if I, just went that greedy and, just sacrificed all that space. So, again, I feel like one issue that farm has is that, there's not a lot of space to farm. Mayan is, honestly the best map for this strat, simply just because you have so much space to farm. But unlike other maps like, Docks, Koru, Plutonium Mines, all those other maps, Basalt Columns, you don't have as much space to farm, so you can't really farm just as hard. Even after farm getting a buff, it's nice, but at the same time, a main issue is that you can't farm really hard due to lack of space to actually farm. Anyway, since I assumed that he was going to go the most efficient farming, eco method, he was going to, start sending spaced whites 2 rounds ago, but he didn't. So I ended up getting a sharpshooter, just a bit unnecessarily. I definitely could have used that for another tower, but it's whatever, I guess. I was still testing out, sharpshooter, or not sharpshooting, crossbow on this map, is fairly decent. That straightaway that it gets there, if you put it on last, is, pretty good. Really, I guess it really does show that, sometimes just in a different setting, cross pathing, I guess just isn't as, brain dead easy as one might think. Because of course, like I said before, usually you'd want to go for 024 or 023, but this time it's a no. I end up getting sharpshooter here, just I guess to deter him from doing any rush. He has hydroarchipod at this point. I can't do anything against him, so again, to prevent him from, I guess, thinking, hey, easy target, easy win, I decided that, I guess to scare him off from rushing, I just got a sharpshooter. So again, I could have farmed more efficiently if I'd have gotten, it's just better farming, but again, I just really wanted to deter him from rushing me this early on, as I did want to go late game with this strategy. I'm not in that good late game, especially right now, but I figured that maybe I could do something with it. Now he sends a camo purple rush at me. Juggernaut and sharpshooter easily take care of it. As you can see, sharpshooters, just whiffing against those, which is actually kind of funny. So again to deter him, I start getting my 032 triple darts. Plus, I am gonna need to get these for round 20 anyways, since that is how I do plan on beating the natural Moab. I was thinking, maybe if I skipped out and went fighter plane, maybe that'd be a bit cheaper. But then, just thinking about it, I was kind of that's cool, but how do I beat the ceramic insides? Because, maybe it might work on this map with, Juggernaut and sharpshooter. But again, on other maps, I don't feel like this would do better. Also, I'm not even sure how, this would also work on shorter maps like Koru or something like that. I haven't actually, got a chance to, really fully explore DFA on just shorter maps like core and all that. Now he sends some regrow ceramics. I'm assuming to test out my defense a bit and just see if I can actually decently handle it. I'm assuming he wanted to end this match, just as quickly as possible. Either he's trying to grind up the leaderboards, or he's trying to I don't know. So he sends some region rainbows at me. I ended up boosting here. Looking back, I don't really feel like I needed to boost. I handled that, pretty well, and I feel like I could have easily beaten that without boost. Because, don't underestimate, the triple dart spam. It's actually fairly decent, even takes down a round 20 mob. But, anyways, he is boosting, things at me a lot. So he's only down to 1 boost now. He sends a mob at me, which again is a bit curious, as triple dart spam can actually beat this. Now he starts sending multiple mobs, which does make me just a bit worried, as again I'm not really sure how this would do against the natural mob, but I do just, I guess, not falter, and again just easily beat the rush. So that's his boost. He spent all this money on that rush, and now his eco now must, well, actually no, his eco's fine, because the balloons he didn't send didn't decrease any eco. I guess it just is, fun to watch him just waste money on boost, and I just defend it without even doing anything. So I decided to get a fighter plane because, again, he goes again and starts sending even more mobs. Now these mobs are stacked, so again, I wasn't really sure how I can handle this, so I just ended up getting a fan club, just in case. As again, these ceramics are like really struggling. I'm really struggling against those. I even ended up like boosting to actually, to easily defend. But then I was just like, nah, I want to go late game. So, again, I wasn't really too concerned with rushing him. I even get my farms back. Now, I just wanted to go late game because I was kind of curious to see, if Ground Zero could actually beat DDTs on its own. I wasn't, I really didn't mind, losing in order to actually, I guess, to see if it could or not. So I sent this guy a fortified BFB, and notice that he hasn't even beaten the natural Moab. He didn't even get laser shock, which again is a very curious decision. He ends up dying to the natural Moab, and I was kind of disappointed by that, as I did want to see, hey, if I could defend that rush he sent at me, but I guess, I should just pay a bit more attention to my opponent's side. He didn't even get laser shock or any other tower, if I'm being honest. Darling and Gwen were the only 2 towers he got. Now, this match here was a bit of a personal favorite from, the entire, I guess, this session I played. I guess I'll just say right now is that Nia actually had Mortar Mastery, as you'll see later on. I don't know, they use the emote later on, that's the Mortar Master emote, and it's also the ZOMG Mortar skin, which is actually pretty nice. I haven't actually encountered any players, I don't think, that have like a mastery. So this is like actually my first time, seeing a player that has mastery of a tower. It was kind of cool to see, just like Mortar at that, seeing, maybe like Sniper, Ninja, Dartling, or like one of those towers. But it was cool to see that, someone having something that isn't like a meta tower, like, Mortar. So, and, I'm also kind of curious to see, what Mortar strats have in general. And also I've talked to some subscribers that also do use Mortar as well, so I guess, for those that do use Mortar, I guess you could take some notes on this strategy here. I guess I myself should also be taking some notes, because I do want to use, some Mortar strats. I am curious to see, some Striker Bomb Mortar strategies. And, well, this is one strategy that I saw here. Nia actually went Tac Bomb Mortar, which, thinking about it, is actually pretty decent. Now, they didn't go Striker, which again is very curious. They went Ocean Open instead. I wonder why, because, if you're going something like Bomb or Mortar, you should pretty much, always bring Striker. That's kind of a given. Now, I guess Nia was just kind of appreciative that, I went farms, and, I just like went like a really off meta strat, like Dart Farm and Ace isn't really a strategy that you see too many. I haven't seen anyone else using Dart Farm before. It would be kind of nice to go against someone who's using Dart Farm, as again I can maybe copy their strat as well. So again, on this map, you'll see that even with crossbow and a spike pole, these guys can't handle us base whites, which is just a tad bit disappointing. I do think that maybe Dart Monkey should receive maybe like a +1 pierce buff. I like ended up boosting just in case, as I really didn't want to die here. So again, this was a time where I was like really trying to grind XP. So again, I just really didn't want to die. Now I'm gonna skip forward ahead in this match because, well, it wasn't really too interesting until like late at the end. Simply because, well, this is the same DFA strat as always, except I just use crossbow now. And me and Nia don't really actually rush each other. I guess we're both just like letting us like just use kind of our strats as, again, you know, it isn't every day you see someone with Mortar Mastery, and also isn't every day you see someone using Banana Farm, and much less Ace as their like tower loadout. Anyways, it is round 19, and Nia actually sends me a fortified Moab. Anyways, if you look over on her side, you can see she has a Bloon Impact and an Overdrive. Again, which is a very interesting combo, not something I would have thought of. But I guess Bloon Impact would pretty much shut down any Bloon Rush, and really would help out against like ceramics, I guess. So I'm guessing, you know, Nia sent that just to make sure my defense was actually ready for round 20. Because on a map like this, Sands of Time, it's not really like the greatest DFA map. It's not like terrible, but it could definitely be a lot better. So I guess let's talk about Nia's strat pretty much. Nia is going, like I said before, Tack Bomb Mortar with Ocean Open. Again, this is very curious as you want to go striker when using like mortars and bombs. But I guess, you know, Ocean Open is kind of just like OP at the moment, so it makes sense that you would use it. And so I guess saying like, you know, this would be a strat I would like, I guess would be good for early game and mid game, although I'm not really too sure about late game. I'm not really sure like how you'd beat bads. Maybe I guess like, cause you really only want bad damage is like Elim, Inferno Ring, yeah, Elim, Inferno Ring, and Bloons. So anyways, I sell for my BRFs right now, and so Nia just kind of was amazed at my decision to do so. I guess, no, Nia wasn't really like expecting me to actually have a tier 4 farm. No one expects this because farms are terrible at the moment. So anyways, it's a bit of risky play getting it right now, since I need ground 0 by round 26 in order to beat DETs. So yeah, that's basically my plan, and it is a bit frustrating having to deal with, you know, unfortunately farms only produce so many bananas or crates per round, so where, you know, if the round is like stalled for a long period of time, you know, you gain like almost no money. So I think maybe a decent, actually pretty good change that would help out, you know, I guess help out farms a bit more, is not make them round based, but maybe make them time based. Like, you know, maybe it produces bananas, you know, every certain amount of seconds, so that way, you know, it's actually able to keep up with eco or just other like ability based farming strategies, like, you know, druids farming, sniper farming, and all that. Because, you know, having it only produce like 5 bananas per round or 5 crates per round, because this is BRF, is kind of I guess disappointing to say the least. Now we get a ground 0 by round 25, which is pretty good in my opinion. But I mean, I kind of do like the updated model of ground 0. It looks a lot, I guess, sharper in battles too. Not really sure how the best way to describe it is. Anyways, because I was kind of positive that Nia wasn't really going to rush me at this point, I decided to get my farm so I can start spamming more trip darts because, again, there's a natural BFB on round 30. And Nia gets an artillery battery, which, again, I was kind of hoping to see a pop and on this match. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get Nia to get any of her mortar tier 5s. Looking back, you know, I probably should have sent like maybe like a BFB this round to, you know, maybe to force them to force them, I don't know, force them to maybe, you know, get like a tier 5, like, I don't know, Tack Zone, Elim, Poppin', biggest one. You know, I was kind of curious to see the mortar tier 5s, but I guess, you know, I just didn't really pressure enough to actually do any of that. Now, you know, this was a bit of a fun match. It is nice to see, you know, someone using a very off meta strat, and that, you know, they just aren't too interested in rushing. It was also pretty cool to see, you know, just Mortar Mastery in general. Now, this is the Mortar Mastery ZOMG skin I was talking about. I ended up ground 0ing here, but that's like nowhere near enough. So I figured that it was time to maybe try out, you know, a Plasma Monkey fan club, because you see, I unlocked that. But even after selling everything, I was still short. And there was no way I was going to beat this, so unfortunately I'm going to have to spam GTs at him. So I end up sending good game and just, ooh boy. Yeah, you know, it was kind of a shame that it had to come to this, but there was no way I was going to be able to defeat that 4-5 ZMG. So if, now if you're watching this, you know, it was a really good game, just unfortunately, I couldn't afford my 5th tier in time. Farms just aren't efficient enough. Anyways, I'm going to end the video here. Hopefully the next video is when 1.06 comes out, because then I'll like start seriously climbing. And yeah, I guess that's just about it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, join our Discord, link is down in the description. Apparently NK is planning on adding private matches gaining XP, which if that's the case, that would be pretty nice to play with some subscribers and grind XP with them while also trying out some different strategies. So again, if you would like to, I guess, just grind XP together, just join Discord down below.